that could, if we by a slim chance get in the playoffs where we could win. This leveled out here. It's losing, losing, losing. So I'm not trying to be funny here, but the point is that we've got to win a football game.
He never holds back, does he? Shannon, how do you interpret what Jones said?
Skip. Jerry's gone about this thing three ways. Skip, we remember what he said after the game in New England.
Yep.
Talking about his coaches. He says he's been so disappointed he can't recall that where he's been this frustrated, and he shouldn't be, given the level of talent that he's given these coaches. And then in Buffalo, Skip, after that loss, he put his arms around Jason and said, hey, I've known him a football life, trying to show love and embrace. So 1 minute, I'm going to kick you in the butt and pep you up. The other minute, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to put my arms around you. Last night sounded like a man that's resigned to the fact, Skip. I don't have a very good football team for whatever reason that may be. Because Jerry said by some slim chance. It didn't say, because remember, Skip, Troy said early in the week that Jason is talking about, I got to just keep my head down and work on Friday. And Jerry's talking about going to the Super Bowl. Now he's saying by some slim chance, we might make it to the playoff that we can, we can do something and win a game. Sound like a man that's resigned to his fate, Skip. Sometimes, they say they call that on your final day when you know you've done something wrong and you got to make atonement for that, Skip. You got to pay the ultimate price. You took a life, you got to give yours. And they say as you come down, they call it dead man walking. Jerry sounded like dead man walking, didn't he, Skip?
He did?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go that
Yeah, you saw the look on his face. He said, I ain't trying to be funny, guys. Or, Jerry normally have these Jerry-isms where he's, all these things like, what is Jerry? Skip, you don't have to guess what Jerry's saying. You understand what he's saying. You can see the hurt, the frustration in his face. You could hear his voice. How it's like, man, I done paid all these guys $100 million and $90 million, $100 million for a D lineman and $90 million for a running back, and $60 million or $70 million for an offensive lineman. I paid everybody. And what have I got to show for it? He's built a great foundation on quicksand. And it's sinking before his very eyes.
Okay, my turn. So I do know Jerry fairly well because I sat with him 3 books that I wrote for hundreds of hours. So I'm pretty good at interpreting Jerry-isms. And I'm with you. The angry Jerry after New England, I have rarely seen except when he fired Jimmy Johnson. So I thought we were close to a firing that night. He blistered that coaching staff in ways he rarely does.
Right.
But then he flipped completely around as he rode the roller coaster. And on Thanksgiving, he was your crazy uncle, having had a couple of too many drinks after Thanksgiving dinner. And he was teary-eyed in his support of Jason Garrett. We have lived a football life, and it was death till we part. And last night was different, Jerry. It was a combination of the two, but I heard angry, and then I heard completely befuddled without answers, because it was clear to me that on the plane ride up to Chicago, remember, Jerry sits up with the coaches in first class, and that's when he gets to pick everybody's brain about what do we really think is going to happen here. And all of his quotes indicated that the coaches let him know, Jerry, here we go. We got this one. This is a good team, but we're better than they are.
Skip, like you always tell me, what are they supposed to say? Jerry, we will get our ass handed to us tonight.
No, but sometimes they could be a little more pessimistic. I'm pretty sure that coaching staff was very optimistic, and he did have one little slip of the tongue where he said, we thought we could come in and run the ball. So I think he was thinking the way I was, you were.
Yes.
Okay, let's feed the beast tonight.
Right.
Let's go 30 carries to Zeke and see if we can just pound them into submission on their home turf in a big Fox Thursday night game. And obviously that didn't happen, and a lot of things didn't happen, and the defense didn't happen, and he talked about all the mistakes and all the third downs where they couldn't hold them on third. And the one I talked about earlier in the show, that crusher at the end with 4 minutes left, where you let Trubisky escape, and then he throws it to some undrafted free agent rookie from Princeton for the first down. It's like the ultimate disgrace. It's the ultimate disrespect.
Well, Skip, you didn't have no choice, because if you notice what he did, Skip, he helped with the block. And then he leaked out.
He fake blocking, or he did a little bit of blocking. No, I know.
There was no count. You're like, okay, well, he's staying in the block. So everybody dropped to depth to try to take away the throws. And little did they know, there he goes.
And I did appreciate the fact that Jerry went all cold realist here because he said, I don't even care about the standings. I don't care about the numbers. So to your point, they are still in first place. They are still the league leading offense in yards gained, but not in points scored. So he's saying, I don't care about the yards. Right now, I don't even care about leading the division because I care about we just keep losing football games, and we got to figure out how just to go win a football game. And he was talking. This wasn't convoluted, Jerry. This was real. This is insightful, Jerry, where he said, we're not collectively getting together as a team and doing the things it takes to win a ball game. That's true. And I know it's like a nebulous, how do you put your finger on what's missing? Because something's missing, but all the pieces are there. You see this piece and that piece, and you'll see little glimpses here and there, but it never does that, right?
But it actually does. Doesn't it go to his jello point? If it's not one thing, it's another. One week it's the offense, the next week it's the defense, then the special teams can't make a field goal, kick the ball out of bounds. At what point do we put this together and get this?
Like he's saying, the jello, if you squeeze, it just goes through your fingers.
Exactly.
Right?
But he wants to, but Skip, think about what he said. He said, it's leveled out here. We're losing. Ain't no, I mean, there's no optimism in that. He's like, it's leveled out. I'm not trying to be funny.
Okay, so what's the fix from the GM's point of view? Is it firing the head coach now?
Skip, I honestly believe, Skip, had they not scored what they scored, if they hadn't scored that 17 points, because Troy said it, he's like Jason Garrett is really trying Jerry's patience. They don't get that 17, Skip. I don't believe Jason Garrett has a job this morning.
Really?
Yeah. 31-7, Skip. Skip, they were lifeless. I mean, they were, look, they've lost games before, but Skip, not like this. They were, I mean, after that opening drive, there was no spark. It was like, you know, there is not a good chance you're going to win an NFL game 7-0, especially if you score the first 7 and say, you know what, for the next 52 minutes, we good.
Yep.
And it seemed like that's what they thought. Because Skip, that tackling by the defense, that's as poor as I've seen this year.
Okay. You know the Alcoholics Anonymous term, enabling?
Yeah.
You know, you get enabled.
Right.
Well, right now, the Cowboys are enabled by the Eagles because they got enabled by the loss at Miami.
Correct.
And it kept them afloat where they didn't deserve to remain afloat.
Maybe if they had won that game, it gave them a different sense of urgency.
It would have.
Because now you're like, oh, even if we lose, we still ahead. And even if they win and we lose, we still ahead because we beat them.
Okay. So mathematically, again, they don't even need to beat the Rams. All they need to do is beat the Eagles and the Redskins, and they're in. But Jerry's to the point where he's been around this game too long. He knew Coach Landry a little bit, though he fired him, and he knew Jimmy a lot because he played college with him and then had him for a few years before he fired him. But he learned that you can't just stumble through December and then be any kind of a credible playoff team. So now that was close to panic mode from Jerry because he doesn't see a fix. What does he want to happen more than anything in the world right now? He wants them to back into the playoffs, but somehow have enough life to suddenly get rolling in the playoffs. And it would be what Jerry called, after Buffalo, the greatest story ever told. You guys would be writing the story for the next 30 years if we get on some Super Bowl roll and all of a sudden Jason Garrett is in the Super Bowl.
And the thing is more likely to happen, we're going to be writing the story about how this team that was so talented failed to make the playoffs.
Well, if that happens, some heads are going to roll, and it won't be Jerry's head that is rolling.
We already
He'll
know,
be doing the
we already know the head is going to roll, but he might even just clean house.
He might. He's going to have to do a lot of fixing. But right now, they're on life support, and he knows that also. So he's not going to fire Jason Garrett.
I'm going to kill a nurse.